Stop building 10 cloud projects and wondering why the interview door stays shut, because one flagship project can do the work of 10 if it proves the right skills. In the next 10 seconds, you are going to see the scorecard I use to judge whether a project looks hire ready or looks like homework. Right after that, I'm going to show you the 4 proof screenshots that make recruiters trust a repo in under 1 minute. Then I'll give you a 7-day sprint plan so you can build those exact proofs fast without spending money or drowning in complexity. The twist is that code alone is not what gets you picked, because the fastest filter is proof of decisions, security, delivery, and operations. If you have been grinding projects and still getting silence, you are not behind. You are just missing the receipts that hiring teams look for. After you see the receipts, comment the word key if you already have 3+ projects and still feel invisible, because that's the exact problem this fixes. Here is the scorecard, and it has 5 pillars with a total of 25 points you can earn with proof. The 5 pillars are architecture and trade-offs, infrastructure as code, CI/CD delivery, security baseline, and operability plus cost controls. Now here are the 4 receipts you are going to build and screenshot: 1 architecture diagram, 1 pipeline success run, 1 dashboard or alert, and 1 cost budget or guardrail. I'm flashing those 4 receipts right now so you know exactly what proof looks like. When those 4 receipts exist, your repo stops sounding like "trust me" and starts sounding like "here's the evidence," even if the app itself is small. Quick self-check right now. Open your best repo and ask yourself if those 4 receipts are visible within the first minute of reading your README. If the answer is no, 10 projects can still look like 0 experience, because missing proof looks like risk to someone who is hiring. In the next minute, I'll show you the exact reasons portfolios get skipped and the simple 1-week plan that fixes it. Most cloud portfolios get ignored because they show activity instead of evidence, and hiring teams are trained to spot risk fast. The first failure pattern is the tutorial clone, where the repo looks identical to a blog post and nothing shows your judgment. The second failure pattern is missing trade-offs, where you list services but never explain what problem each choice solved. The third failure pattern is missing operations, where there are no logs, no metrics, no alerts, and no plan for what breaks first. The fourth failure pattern is weak security, where secrets appear in code, permissions are too wide, or the system is open by default. The fifth failure pattern is cost blindness, where nothing prevents runaway spend, so the project screams future bill. If you recognize even 2 of these patterns in your repo, you don't need a new project. You need better proof in the one you already have. When a recruiter or hiring manager opens your repo, they do a speed scan with 10 other tabs open, and you get seconds to earn a second look. First, they look for a 1-line problem statement and a fast demo path, because they want to know what it does before they care how you built it. Next, they look for a diagram and a deploy path, because "I can run this" is more believable than "trust me." Then they look for proof of safe delivery, like a pipeline file and a recent successful run, because manual deployments are a red flag. After that, they look for safety and stability, like secret handling, least privilege hints, logs, and an alert, because production work breaks and attackers exist. Finally, they look for signals that you won't waste money, like a budget alert, resource cleanup steps, or cost notes, because cloud spend is a real pain. If your README hides these items or forces a reader to dig, the reader will leave because they have no reason to fight your repo. Cloud is still a smart career lane, but the bar is rising because companies want proof, not promises. A major forecast expected worldwide public cloud end user spending to hit about $723 billion in 2025, so the work is not shrinking. At the same time, skills like AI, data, networks, and cybersecurity are growing fast, which means your portfolio must show modern practices, not just "it runs." The BLS projects roughly 317,700 openings per year on average in computer and IT occupations, which is a lot of opportunity for people who look ready. The problem is that opportunity does not automatically go to the busiest person, because it goes to the person who reduces hiring fear. Your portfolio is not a school folder. It is a risk report that says, "This person can be trusted with production-like work." If you have ever felt like the market is too competitive, the real fix is to build proof that is easy to verify quickly. The scorecard is how you stop guessing, because it turns good project into a measurable pass or fail. Score each pillar from 0 to 5, where 0 means missing and 5 means a stranger can follow the proof without messaging you. A hire-ready flagship project usually hits at least 4 in most pillars, because strong teams need balanced habits, not one lucky strength. If your total score is under 15 out of 25, treat that as a roadmap, not a defeat, because you can add proof faster than you can build new features. If your score is 15 to 19, your fastest gains are usually documentation, automation, and security cleanup, because those create instant trust. If your score is 20 or more, you have a project that can carry you through multiple interviews because it contains real decisions and real operations thinking. Say your score out loud right now, even if you are guessing, because naming the number makes the next steps focused and calm. The first pillar is architecture and trade-offs, and it proves you can design systems instead of just wiring services together. Start with simple requirements, like who uses it, what success looks like, and what must never happen, because those constraints create real decisions. Then write a short decision log that lists options you considered, the one you chose, and the cost of that choice, because trade-offs are what real engineers discuss every day. Your proof is one clean diagram, plus a short page of decisions that answers why this in plain language. A great diagram shows the request path, the data path, and the failure path, because those are the 3 questions reviewers worry about. A great decision note includes at least one, "We didn't do X because that shows restraint and judgment. If you struggle here, pick one choice you made, like database type or auth method, and write 3 sentences explaining what you gained and what you gave up. The second pillar is infrastructure as code, and it proves your environment is repeatable and not trapped in console clicks. Your proof is an infrastructure as code folder that builds the whole environment from scratch, plus deploy steps that start at an empty account and end at a working demo. Strong infrastructure as code uses parameters for things that change, like region and environment name, so you can spin up dev and prod without copying files. Strong infrastructure as code also shows an environment strategy, like separate state or separate accounts, because safe teams don't mix experiments with stable systems. If your deployment steps require click here and hope, that is not repeatable, and it will not earn trust from someone who has been burned before. A quick quality test is whether you can destroy everything and rebuild it without editing code, because that proves your instructions are real. If infrastructure as code feels scary, remember the goal is not perfection. It is a repeatable story that someone else can follow. The third pillar is delivery with CI/CD, and it proves you can ship changes safely without turning every update into a gamble. Your proof is a pipeline file that runs on every change, does basic checks, and deploys in a predictable way to a target environment. Keep the pipeline simple with stages like lint, test, build, and deploy, because boring pipelines win more than fancy pipelines that break. Add a note about rollback, even if it is redeploy the last good version, because interviewers love calm answers to scary problems. This pillar matters because teams measure delivery quality with real metrics like change failure rate and time to restore service, and automation is how you improve those numbers. The easiest receipt here is a screenshot of a successful pipeline run with a link to the config, because it proves you didn't hand-wave delivery. If you have ever copied files manually to deploy, this is where you upgrade from builder to shipper, and that upgrade is visible to hiring teams. The fourth pillar is a security baseline, and it proves you don't create easy breaches or leak secrets by accident. Your proof is a short security notes file that explains how you handled secrets, permissions, and safe defaults, because security is about habits, not hero moves. Least privilege is the main concept, which means each component can only do what it needs, like a key that opens one door and not the whole building. Secrets belong in a secret store or secure variables, not in code, not in screenshots, and not in your README, because trust dies instantly when a key leaks. Include a basic checklist of what you protected, like access control, input validation, and secure configuration, because those risks are common and easy to explain. You don't need to sound like a security officer, you just need to sound like someone who respects blast radius and thinks ahead. If security is your weakest area, write one paragraph today explaining how you would prevent accidental exposure, because that single paragraph becomes an interview answer. The fifth pillar is operability plus cost controls, and it proves you can run the system and manage reality after deployment. Your proof is logs, metrics, at least one alert, and a tiny runbook that says what to do when something breaks. A runbook can be short and still powerful, like check logs, check database, check worker status, then roll back, because it shows you think like an operator. Add a dashboard screenshot that answers, is it healthy, and where is it failing, because observability is how teams avoid guessing during incidents. Then add a cost guardrail, like a budget alert, resource cleanup steps, or usage limits, because cloud cost control is a real priority in mature teams. The best part is that cost and ops proof is rare in beginner portfolios, so it creates instant separation even if your app is small. If you want one simple engagement check, answer this in the comments with one word. Which pillar scares you most? Architecture, infrastructure as code, delivery, security, or ops? Now, you need one flagship project idea that naturally produces all 5 pillars without exploding scope. The right project is simple to demo, easy to explain, and close to what real businesses actually run, because familiar problems feel credible fast. Choose something with identity, data, background work, and monitoring, because those pieces create the proof artifacts you need. Avoid projects with too many moving parts, because complexity hides your thinking and steals time from packaging and proof. Avoid niche tech with low signal to noise, because your goal is to be clearly understood, not to be obscurely impressive. A simple rule keeps you safe. If a feature does not create a new proof artifact for a pillar, it goes to the later list. If you want a fast win, pick a project that a non-technical person can describe in one sentence, because clarity is retention for viewers, and clarity is trust for recruiters. A strong flagship template is a cloud support ticket hub, because it is enterprise-like, easy to demo, and naturally forces good practices. A user submits a ticket through an API, the ticket is stored in a database, and a background worker updates status and sends notifications. Architecture proof comes from explaining why you separated request handling from background work, and how you designed for failure and retries. IAC proof comes from deploying networking, identity, and services from code, so your environment is reproducible and clean. Delivery proof comes from a pipeline that tests and deploys changes, so every update leaves a safe trail you can show. Security proof comes from least privilege, secret handling, and safe defaults, so you can explain what you protected and why. Ops and cost proof comes from logs, metrics, an alert, a runbook, and a budget, so your project looks like something a team could run without fear. Now, you execute a 7-day sprint, because constraints are what turn ideas into finished proof. The goal is not perfect features. The goal is a complete proof package that a stranger can deploy and understand quickly. Keep it low cost by using free tiers and teardown steps, and keep it low scope by building only what supports the scorecard. Done means your repo contains the receipts, your README is skimmable, and your deploy steps are reliable from zero. Each day ends with something visible, like a diagram, a working endpoint, a clean module, a pipeline run, or a dashboard screenshot, because visible progress keeps you moving. If you start to drift, come back to the rule that proof beats features, because hiring outcomes follow proof, not extra buttons. You are building one project that looks like real work, and that is the difference between attention and silence. On day 1, write requirements and draw the first diagram, because design clarity saves time and creates immediate proof. Your problem statement should be 1 paragraph. Your success measures should be 3 bullets, and your constraints should be 2 simple lines that force trade-offs. Write a decision log with at least 3 choices, like auth approach, data store, and async processing, so you can explain your thinking later. Make the architecture diagram show the request path, the data path, and where failures are handled, because those 3 paths are what reviewers worry about. End day 1 by writing 1 trade-off sentence that starts with, I chose X because that sentence becomes your interview anchor. On day 1, you are not chasing features. You are building a map and a story that makes every later step faster. If you do day 1 well, day 7 packaging becomes easy, because you already have the why written down. On day 2, build baseline infrastructure with infrastructure as code, focusing on identity, networking, and core services, because foundations make later work smoother. Decide how configuration works across environments, like dev and prod, because real teams separate changeable settings from code. Add tagging and naming conventions early, because clean structure signals professionalism and prevents confusion later. On day 3, build the smallest end-to-end demo, like create ticket, list tickets, and update ticket status, because a working loop beats a big plan. If you have a worker, Keep its job tiny, like sending a notification when status changes, because small jobs are easier to secure and observe. Add one basic test on day 3, because tests become pipeline checks and show you respect quality. By the end of day 3, you should be able to demo the core loop in under 2 minutes, because short demos win attention. On day 4, harden infrastructure as code by modularizing, parameterizing, and making rebuilds clean, because repeatability is the point of this pillar. Practice a full destroy and redeploy once, because rebuilding from zero exposes missing steps and hidden assumptions fast. On day 5, build CY and CD with a pipeline that runs on every push, validates code and infrastructure, and deploys to a development environment. Add a version tag or release note so your deploys have a story, because hiring teams trust change trails. Write your rollback plan in plain language, because how do we undo this is a question you will get in interviews. Take a screenshot of a successful pipeline run and save it for the README, because that is one of your strongest credibility receipts. By the end of day 5, your project should ship like a system, not like a one-time demo, and that difference is obvious. On day 6, lock security and add observability, because this is where your project starts to look production-aware. Tighten permissions so each component can only access what it truly needs, because least privilege is the simplest security win. Move secrets into a safe store or secure variables, and rotate anything you expose during testing, because cleanup is part of trust. Turn on logs and metrics, then build one dashboard that answers, is it working, and what is failing, because operators need fast answers. Add at least one alert, like error rate spikes or worker failures, because silent failure is the worst kind of failure. Write a tiny runbook with 3 response steps, because teams care about how you react, not just how you build. Save one dashboard or alert screenshot for the README, because it is a high signal receipt during the skim. On day 7, package for hiring, because packaging is what turns proof into interviews, even when nobody runs your code. Your README should start with problem, quick demo, and architecture diagram, because the first screen is where attention is won or lost. Then include deploy steps with expected outputs, because vague steps create doubt, and doubt ends the review. Add a short section for each pillar with proof links, so a reviewer can click straight to decisions, pipeline config, security notes, and runbook. Include your 4 receipts in a small gallery, like diagram, pipeline success, dashboard or alert, and budget or guardrail, because those screenshots create instant credibility. Keep it skimmable with short sentences and clear links, because recruiters don't want to hunt and managers don't want to guess. If you want a simple self-check, ask whether a stranger could trust your repo in 60 seconds, and if not, your packaging needs one more pass. Now turn the project into interview answers, because the goal is not a cool repo. The goal is a story that gets you hired. Use a 60-second walkthrough that goes problem, architecture, one trade-off, how it deploys, how it is secured, and how it is monitored and cost-limited. Prepare 5 short stories, 1 per pillar, so you can answer many questions without rambling or inventing details. For trade-offs, explain what you gained and what you gave up, because honest trade-offs sound real and mature. For operations, explain one alert and what you would do first, because calm incident thinking is rare and valuable. For cost, explain your budget guardrail and teardown plan, because it signals you respect money like a professional. When you pick your flagship idea, comment done and include the pillar you fear most, because that public commitment makes finishing more likely and helps someone else start. A lot of the conversations here are about building skills and making intentional career moves. That same theme shows up in a small shop I run with merch centered on tech culture and professional and personal growth. It's meant for people who take their work seriously but don't need to broadcast it loudly. Wearing something like that can be a small reminder of why you started. Some people find that motivating in day-to-day work life. The shop is linked in the description if you want to see what's there. Found this valuable? Watch our playlists for more practical, expert-level insights on digital transformation and leading your career into the next era of growth. And don't forget to share this video with anyone who needs a clearer strategy. Knowledge is power, and the more people who understand this, the more successful your organization will be. Simplify the tech, amplify the impact.